About Brazil. Looking at the countries in the world today, countries that can become world-class powers either have superior geographical locations, such as Japan, or have vast land, such as Russia, or both, such as the United States. However, Brazil, which is the fifth largest in the world and has many excellent conditions, has not become a world power. Why on earth? Brazil, whose full name is the Federative Republic of Brazil, is a capitalist country located in South America. Because of its good economic development, it is also known as the BRICS and is one of the most developed countries in South America. And we all know that because of the strength of football and the experience of winning many World Cups, five-star Brazil. Brazil also has the reputation of football kingdom and is a world-famous football power. Its country has a football industry that many countries envy. But in fact, in addition to football, Brazil's excellent geographical conditions are even more enviable. It is understood that Brazil has a land area of 8.51 million square kilometers, accounting for 46% of the land area of South America. It is the largest country in South America and the fifth largest country in the world. Having vast land is very helpful to the development of agriculture, and Brazil is not only large in area, but also very flat in terrain. It is understood that the whole of Brazil is divided into two parts. One is the Brazilian plateau above 500 meters above sea level, and the other is the plain below 200 meters above sea level. Although these two large landforms have this altitude, they are actually very flat and suitable for the construction of buildings and the living of ordinary people. In fact, unlike the western part of our country, the mountain roads are rugged. In addition to the flat terrain, Brazil is also rich in water resources, with three major nuclear systems: Amazon, Parana, and San Francisco. These three river systems are not only amazing in length, but also abundant in water. They have brought Brazil a vast alluvial plain and abundant freshwater resources, and provided the Brazilian people with excellent farming land and irrigation water. In addition to excellent land conducive to agricultural development, Brazil also has many excellent conditions conducive to economic development. For example, Brazil has more than 7,400 kilometers of coastline, which has unique advantages for the development of foreign trade economy. At the same time, Brazil is also rich in natural resources, such as Nimontai bauxite, lead, tin and iron, and other mineral resources are among the top in the world. Among them, the proven reserves of lithium ore are 4.56 million tons, and the annual output accounts for more than 90% of the world's total output, which can be said to be a monopoly. And the proven iron ore reserves are about 33.3 billion tons, accounting for about 10% of the world's total, ranking fifth in the world. The proven oil reserves have 15.3 billion barrels, ranking 15th in the world, providing sufficient raw materials for Brazil's industrial development and playing a major role in Brazil's economic development. Having said so much, Brazil, with so many good conditions, as long as government officials are not stupid, it should be said that it is a matter of high probability to become a world power. But the magical place is here. Although Brazil's national strength has increased a lot from independence to the present, it has become a world-renowned BRICS country, but its status is at most a regional power, away from the world's top few world powers. There is still a big distance. So far, it is still a developing country, and its influence in the world is not great. This makes people curious, saying that Brazil, with so many advantages, has not become a world power? There are actually reasons why Brazil still has not become a world power under many excellent conditions. The main reason is that the first is the restriction of terrain conditions. As we said just now, Brazil's narrow coastline and flat terrain have provided a lot of convenience for Brazil's economic development and agricultural development, but the two actually restricted Brazil's development to a certain extent. Although Brazil has a long coastline, there are few fine harbors and flat beaches due to topography, and most of them are raised cliffs. Such terrain is not conducive to ships docking. So although Brazil has a long coastline, the port shipping conditions are not very good. Similarly, although Brazil has a flat terrain, many river systems, and sufficient fresh water resources, it also has a lot of precipitation because it is near the equator. Once there is a season of large-scale precipitation, floods will occur in the rivers in Brazil, causing harm to the people along the coast, and also involving the experience of many governments. And Brazil, because of the flat terrain, abundant precipitation, suitable temperature, and other reasons, trees grow very rapidly. Many areas are primitive tropical rainforests, and the Amazon rainforest, known as the lungs of the earth, is in Brazil. This rainforest area is not only difficult to live in, but also very difficult to develop and build. So despite Brazil's flat terrain and amazing coastline, the advantages they bring are not as great as imagined. The second reason is that the development direction is wrong. At the beginning of its independence in 1822, Brazil did have the idea of developing national power to dominate the world. However, in the process of development, they have been fooled by some countries, believing that the development of the tertiary industry is the ticket to enter developed countries. So Brazil put a lot of energy into the development of the tertiary industry, reducing the development of its own local manufacturing industry, but focusing on tourism and import and export trade. Although the Brazilian government gained a lot of benefits by these means in the early stage, the single economic model was difficult to last. Various economic problems, such as inflation, soon appeared in Brazil, and the national strength grew very slowly. And there were even signs of regression. For this reason, we have to go back to adjust the economic development goals, abandon the long-developed tertiary industry, and focus on the development of domestic industries. However, although the Brazilian government has spent a lot of effort to develop industry, it has also made a lot of achievements in recent decades and has a complete industrial system. However, after missing the best development time at the beginning, Brazil's industrial development was very difficult, far behind the world powers such as Britain and the United States, thus losing the opportunity to compete for world hegemony. The third reason is the prominent racial contradiction. In addition to the two reasons we just mentioned, another important reason why Brazil has not become a world power is the racial contradictions within the country. Brazil was originally the hometown of Indians and one of the birthplaces of Indian culture. There used to be huge Indians living in this place. However, because of the advent of the era of great navigation, Brazil has become a colony of European and American countries, and there are great conflicts between Indians and Caucasians. Moreover, the hatred and contradiction between the two became deeper and deeper as the European colonization of Brazil became longer, and became the top priority at the beginning of Brazil's independence. At the same time, because of the slave trade, Brazil also has many blacks. These blacks, like Indians, also hate white people, and there is also great hatred between the two races. Even because they were black slaves, these blacks had been bullied by the Indians, and the relationship between the two races was very general. So even though Brazil established an independent country in 1822, the complex contradictions between the three races have not been completely eliminated, but have become more and more intense. For this reason, the newly established Brazilian government has been focusing on eliminating ethnic conflicts and stabilizing the country at the beginning. These have spent a lot of energy and have no time to develop the entire country. So in the final analysis, although Brazil has excellent geographical conditions, it has not become a world power in the end.